Alright, so in this video we're going to be doing a devil fruit tier list. Now this tier list won't be limited to PvP like a lot of others. This one will include PvE into the rankings, so its ability to, marine ship farm, dungeon farm, boss farm, and its ability to perform in arena will all be taken into consideration for this tier list. So, starting off at the trash tier, which is literally just Suke. Though I feel like this one doesn't need an explanation, I'll give one anyways. For PvP, it's completely useless. Everybody has observation hockey now. You can be seen even when you're invisible. Rock throw is a horrible skill, and making others go invisible is also useless. It does serve a little bit of practicality in PvE, because when you go invisible, NPCs can't see you, but the stamina drain is really high, and you'd just be better off using any other devil fruit for PvE. Alright, now on to D tier. Now, these are actually the devil fruits people would consider eating. Marrow. I put Marrow in D tier because I feel it's lacking in both PvP and PvE. In PvP, you have super low damage. Its combo ability is really all it has going for it, but even that is pretty bad. And you have no mobility move. You're not given much to work with. Your ult is really annoying. It has very close range, very easy to miss, and its skills are lacking. And for PvE, pretty much the same reasons. It's low damage, it has fairly low AoE, not a lot of its moves have big AoE ranges. Its cooldowns I think are short, but that doesn't really matter, and its ult is single target only. So it lands itself in D tier, but if anyone feels like they can argue a reason why it should go up, I'm happy to listen, but other than that, I think it's in D tier as the worst actual non-common devil fruit in the game. Alright, now on to C tier. I have Bomb and Bari both in C tier. The reason I have them both in C tier is because they're both opposite sides of really the same coin, kind of. It's like one is really good for PvP while the other is really good for PvE. Bomb is really good for PvE. In dungeons, you can just instantly take out the boss, and it can instantly take out galleons with its ult, and that's really it. Its ult is the only thing you're going to be using in PvE. For PvP, it's not horrible, but it's not good either. I think it's pretty bad, but it's not great. And Barrier is borderline useless in dungeons ever since they nerfed the barrier strat in dungeons, which if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. There's plenty of barrier strats, but they nerfed it in dungeons, so people just use it in PvP now. And the reason it's in C tier for PvP is because if you watch people like Suki use it in PvP, you'll be able to tell why it's actually not bad for PvP. Sure, he's really good at the game himself, but I've seen other people use it well too. But yeah, those are my reasonings for Bomb and Barrier. On to B tier. Alright, I decided to place Hiei and Zushi in B tier. Now, these might be a little controversial picks, but Hiei I think is reasonable. It's good for PvP, even though it has a few solid counters, like flight moves make freezing people completely useless. But for PvE, they're very lacking. Having these moves isn't going to be great for bosses with a lot of HP. And Zushi is the same reasoning. Good combo ability. Both of these fruits have great combo ability in PvP, but in PvE, they just lack. You're not going to be able to use them well in PvE. Dungeons, marine ship farming. Marine ship farming with Zushi is borderline impossible, and I don't know if Hiei is the same, unless you have to use some crazy build where you have 700 skill points in devil fruit to even be able to ship farm with Hiei. The PvE capabilities are just not there. But for PvP, they're great, which is what lands them in B tier. Alright, next we have A tier. So A tier is where a majority of the fruits sit, because I think a majority of the fruits in this game are actually really good and really well-rounded fruits. So the order of which I have the fruits placed in each tier doesn't really matter. It's just the fact of each tier is what matters. So we start off with Tori. Tori is good for both grinding and for PvP, but it's weird to get used to. It's not like every other fruit, and for PvP you have to kind of think outside the box when you're using it in comparison to when you're grinding. When you're grinding, you can kind of just heal and you'll be fine, Getting out damage is really easy. NPCs don't really block. You can just land Phoenix Burst and it'll probably guard break them anyways because of how much damage it does. It's good for marine ship farming. It's good for leveling bosses. It's good, but it's not like fantastic. It's just good. And for PvP, it's a bit different for each person. Some people would say it's hard to use, and some people will say it is hard to use, but I prefer it over any other fruit. It's really just your opinion on if you prefer a different play style than most other fruits in the game. But then we have Gura. Gura is good for PvE. It's really good for PvE, and for Arena, it's good, but it's just good. Like, it's not great, it's not amazing, and it's not bad. It's not just okay. It's good. But tsunamis and having high damage is great for grinding. It's amazing for arena. I mean, not arena. It's amazing for dungeons. It's amazing for ship farming, and it's amazing for boss farming and leveling. It can hit all NPCs. You can take them all out. It's great. For arena, it's lacking because of its slowness. All of its moves are guard breaks, which is great, but it's slow. Mobility is not really an option. For the fruit alone, of course. But then you have Magu. Magu sits in A tier for, it's very similar to Gura. I'd give it the exact same reasonings as Gura, other than the guard breaks. It's high damage. It has a great ult for both PvP and PvE, and it is a very solid fruit, but I would say it's better for grinding than it is for arena. That's just my opinion, but it's still a solid fruit and lands itself in A tier. High damage. It's a bit slow, but it's very high damage, and it's a very good fruit. Then we have Pika. Now, Pika, though I think it's a very overrated fruit, I still decided to put it in A tier. The reason I put it in A tier, and not like S, like some people would think, is because for grinding, it is exceptional. It's the best grinding fruit in the game. I think it's easily, maybe not for dungeons, but for boss farming and leveling, it is the best. For dungeons, I might give it to Bomb just because of its ability to take out bosses instantly. But no, I'd still give it to Pika because of the waves in between. Bomb can't handle that. So yeah, Pika is the best fruit for all grinding. It's grinding. You can spam Light Ray and melt bosses. You can use its ult, which will hit a lot of enemies. Light Kick is super fast. Mirror Kick has big AoE. It's just applies burn damage, good damage itself. It's a great fruit for grinding. Now for PvP, it's lacking. I think it's probably the worst legendary fruit for PvP, in my opinion. Its grinding is amazing. Its arena skills are not. But yeah, it has no combo ability, and it makes hitting its moves really hard unless you're fighting someone who's bad at the game. Its moves are very perfect blockable. Now, Mera and Goro, they're in S tier because I put Goro in S tier because it's very brain dead. I think you can just do the Collier combo extender, and then you can do the Lightning Paralyzation combo extender, and you're good. Rinse and repeat. Its moves are fast, has a solid guard break, TP dashes. I didn't even mention that for Pika, but it has TP dashes. It's really good, very solid. Mera, you can spam Flame Pillar. It's not as easy as a fruit to use as Goro. It takes some skill. Well, not to say Goro doesn't take skill, but it takes more skill than Goro. But Mera is a very good fruit too. You can Kirby Slam with Firefly Lights, which if you don't know what that is, you can look it up in GPO, Kirby Slamming. You can use Flame Pillar, and it does a lot of damage if someone eats the whole thing, up to like 300, 400 damage. It does insane damage. It charges very quickly. You can throw it out. It does have a wasted mobility move, kind of, if you call it a waste, but what are you gonna do? The rest of its fruit, I think, is still really good, and it's really good for both of these fruits in S tier are both really good for grinding and really, really good for arena, which is why I put them in S tier. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my devil fruit tier list. This is just my opinion and where I think these fruits deserve the ranking based off of arena and dungeons. I will see you guys next time.